Hello and welcome to another edition, episode number 53 of the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. And I got to tell you, as we come to you broadcasting, we're not recording on a Monday, we're broadcasting on a Saturday, May 1st, the year of our Lord 2021. I come to you with some mixed emotions today. And you might be asking, well, why, Jim? You're always so happy. But I'm confused. I'm disappointed, bewildered, if you will. And some of you might be saying, "Well, I watch you every week on YouTube with Ep, and I listen to you every week, and you always sound that way." True, but the reason I'm bewildered and disappointed, maybe a little bit sad, quite frankly, is because the league batting average. I looked this up this morning. It's at 232 as we speak to you on May 1st, 2021. Now, if you would have told me that the league batting average May 1st, 2021 would be 232 5, 7 years ago with the new analytics and the launch angle phenomenon and exit velocity and all these things seeping in to baseball, I would have had the same emotions. And meanwhile, pitchers continually just get better and go up on the upslope. It's kind of sad, quite frankly, as I said. And it's perfect though, because we've got good news. And here's why it's perfect: because today our subject, our main topic, is overcoming slow starts. It's funny how just sometimes in life things work out. Hey, my name is Jim, for those of you who don't know, and joining me as always is my friend, co-host, professional evaluator, successful business owner, the people's champ. Did I miss any titles? I don't think I did. Jake Epstein, how are you, sir?
Big fan of the People's Champ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's new.
Hmm.
Big fan of it. I will say, greatest intro of podcast history right there.
Right. I want to do something a little different this week. And I was thinking about this last night. I was watching the Mets and the Phillies last night a little bit. And I was watching college baseball as well. And, more so on the major league side, I'm seeing just, and we've talked about this on the show before, just constantly over and over again. And we'll get to this in a second of guys just missing pitches, hanging sliders, breaking balls, fastballs. But the league batting average, as I mentioned, 232. And I mean, we picked on the Cubs enough, and they're not even in the bottom five anymore. And you'll see people watching, they'll see it on the graphic. They're not even in the bottom five anymore with the lowest batting average in the league, slugging, OPS. Everybody is down. But you look at some of the teams in the bottom five, and those teams, by the way, their batting averages, and I heard this last night, and I did some more research today, this morning, their batting averages would be in the top 15 lowest batting averages of all time, those bottom five teams that people are now seeing on the graphic. It's unbelievable. The horrible numbers. And I don't care, look, you can only have a slow start so much to a point where you're a month into the season here.
Yeah, it's what it is. There's so many. I looked at the Brewers beat the Dodgers. Last night. Was it 3-1?
Mm-hmm.
It was 3-1, and it's like there were like 8 hits in the whole game, 9 hits in the whole game.
Yeah.
And if we don't hit the home run right now, then we're not scoring any games. The Yankees scored 10. I think they hit like 5 home runs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where the game is. I think there is a problem with that, and I think a lot of it is approach. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is we're not using the term. For instance, there was something like Stanton is hot, right? He's had 3 games where he's had 3 hits in those games, and they say, oh, he's a StatCast machine, exit velocity machine. He's just a big, strong guy. Right. Like if he hits the barrel, it's going to be hard because he launches it low too. Mm-hmm. If Dave Winfield got 3 hits in the game, I guarantee you his exit velocity was off the charts too. Yeah. But we're making such a big deal out of that now that it's playing a role that really isn't needed. There's guys that don't light up the StatCast, but they're 310 hitters and they score a lot of runs and they get on base. Like, who cares if you can hit a ball 105 miles an hour mm-hmm. versus 115? 105 still going out of the park.
Yeah.
And if you can be more consistent in 105 because you're a fully grown person than somebody that's not consistent at 115, then you're going to be a better hitter and you're going to get paid for it. So I just think there's the language. There's too much put on this new language, and it gives it a bad rap. It's all about exit velocity. It's all about launch angle. I mean, you could call the reason they use the word launch angle because I thought somebody put a tweet out. I don't know if it was Jeff Fry or somebody that put a tweet out like the term launch angle is what screwed everything up. But if they just called it like an exit angle, or something like that. But launch angle is a golf term. Like they've been using the term launch angle for, probably 20 years, 25 years with, with the advent of, TrackMan, right? So they didn't make up a new word. They're just kind of using that word, but it has created kind of a negative connotation out there because that's what players are trying to get. There was a stat, and I wish we had it. Maybe we can look it up and put it in the podcast. And it was like, was it Bellinger? It was the MVP race, right, between Bellinger and Yelich a few years ago. Was that 19?
Yeah.
And it had like their stats were almost identical, like their on base percentage, their home runs, their RBIs, their batting average. And it was like, or maybe it was Mookie Betts. It may not have been Bellinger. It may have been Mookie Betts. But it was like, but I know it was.
No, it was Bellinger because they were in.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't know why I saw Betts though.
Well, Betts,
yeah. Find it. But everything, all their stats were the same except the average launch angle. Like, Yelich's average launch angle was like, I don't know, 4 degrees, because it's not on hits, but it's average overall. And then Bellinger's was like 18. Right. And it's like, well, these are two guys with two completely different swings, but they can still be good hitters.
Yeah.
It's what is your miss? And that's what I always tell my players. What's your miss going to be? Like, obviously we want to hit line drives. Honestly, we want to be in the, like 12 degree to 25 degree range with our launch angle, right? But we're going to miss. Yeah. What is your miss? Are you a fast guy? I want your miss to be lower. Are you a big, slow person? I want your miss to be in the air, because if you're big and slow and you're still playing, you're strong, and your misses that are in the air might go out of the park.
Yeah.
But your misses on the ground might be a double play. So it's how we control our misses based on the kind of player we are. Mm-hmm. And that's a really important part of the equation when I'm teaching players is knowing, where do we want to miss? Do we want to miss on the top of the ball or the bottom of the ball? And then we can kind of cater their swing plane after that. Yeah. And I'm sure you have more, but I want to talk about Judge a little bit. I just read something a few minutes ago. So again, it's Saturday, the 1st of May, and
our year of our Lord 2021.
Year of our Lord 2021. So I just clicked on MLB.com. I usually take a look at that in the mornings, and it said, Judge this, and he made a swing change over the last couple days.
Sure.
And so I'm like, oh, I love to hear about this kind of stuff. We're talking about slow starts today, right? Maybe I should save the story for the slow starts, but
we're into the topic now. We're doing a little bit of a different format today.
Yeah,
we're hitting people. We're hitting them figuratively
early, and then we'll talk about my car story after that.
Well, you said you had a rabbit going down a pipe or something.
Yes, I had
figuratively. We don't want PETA to come after us or any animal rights groups, because we love animals.
Right.
We both have dogs.
It wasn't on purpose.
Right.
So Judge raised his hands. Right. Mm-hmm. He said, I changed my stance. I raised my hands. So again, we're talking about a slow start, right? So he's making adjustments. What is he doing to make adjustments? Did he look at video? Did he look at this? So that adjustment I could have made for him probably, a month ago, when the season started. Like, it's very obvious. He was missing. I'm not going to say getting beat, because he wasn't getting beat. He was missing belt high fastballs, right? Or top of the thigh fastballs. He was missing pitches up. So his adjustment that took him a long time to make was, I'm going to raise my hands up. So he hit a home run last night. It was the first home run I've ever seen him hit. I've probably seen it on video, 100 home runs that he's hit, right? It was the first one where it looked like, and I don't know what was going through his head, but going through my head, I would have been like, I'm going to stay on top. I'm going to stay on top. I'm going to stay on top, right? Like, that's the adjustment I'm making, because I'm going under everything. I'm going to keep my hands up. I'm going to try to hit the top of the ball. I'm going to do whatever. If we look at that home run, and maybe, we can put it through, I can send it to you, but his hands are up probably 3 or 4 inches higher at launch. At first I thought, he's going to lift his hands up. It's not going to change anything. That was my first thought. When they said, he's going to raise his hands in his stance, I'm like, that's cosmetic. As soon as he strides, he's going to pull him down where he's comfortable. Well, he didn't. And that's why I know he was thinking, I got to keep him up. I got to keep him up. It's a very controlled swing he took.
And this is last night, just to be clear, right?
This is last night. So this would have been the 30th of April.
Right. Year of our Lord 2021.
55th wedding anniversary. Yesterday was my parents' 55th.
Oh, congratulations to them. That's tremendous.
Well, it's like... how? Like, my mom is a saint. Like, to be
Oh, yeah.
married to Big Mike for that long.
That's what I say about my mom that's what I say about my mom living with
Yeah,
my dad.
right.
Yeah.
And someday someone will say that about your wife.
Probably not. I'm
Oh.
fine. I'm as close to perfect as possible. Go ahead.
Anyway, so if we slow that down, he stayed on top. It was the most I've ever seen him, and this is great. I guess you can kind of see me on video here, but
People
it was
can
the
see
most
now.
he
Yeah, yeah.
pulled his hands forward this way. I have never seen. Usually, I see him go here, and then it kind of turns that way. And it was the first time I saw him kind of pull his hands forward, pull the knob out in front, a la Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of somebody.
I
else.
mean, it took me a while to mention my guy's name.
Yeah. I got something on my guy though. Later in the show. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, I was really excited to see that with Aaron Judge.
So no more. He didn't barrel dump. For those listening,
no, he didn't drop his. He stayed on top of a high pitch. I thought it was fantastic, and that's the adjustment that he made. So a good hitting coach, and I would try to pride myself on that.
Yes,
because it is a terrible job. You know.
Yeah.
I'm meaning at a big league level. It's a really tough job. Yeah. Like if the team doesn't hit, it's all your fault. You work, the guys show up for ball games at, say 2:00, 3:00 for a 7:00 game, you know, so they're working long days, right? They're there 8 hours a day. Well, coaches are there for like 4 hours longer than that. You know, they're working 10, 12-hour days, and they're not getting paid anywhere near a player would get paid, and they're doing a lot of work. So it's a very, very tough job, but a good hitting coach sees where these issues may be, right? Like I told you, if Judge is going to miss, he's always going to miss one way, right? Like that's what it is. He always misses under. He always stacks too much over his back leg. He always loses the barrel a little bit early. And if he's late, he pops it up. If he's on time, he hits a fly ball to right field that goes 380 feet. Yeah. And then if he's just a tad early, he's going to top spin something to the pull side, right? That's how his swing plate is set up. So how can we flatten that? Well, we raise the hands and finish lower. Instead of lowering the hands and finishing higher, we raise the hands and finish lower. It's totally what he did. He started to pull the knob out in front more instead of just turning it underneath. But a good hitting coach makes that adjustment. Now, not only does a good hitting coach see that and know what the fix is, but a good / great hitting coach knows how to communicate it. Yeah. And I don't know, so I'm not taking I don't know. I know their assistant hitting coach, PJ Pelletier, he was my roommate at Fullerton. Like, he's one of my favorite guys ever. Like, what a great kid. And he's Italian, so,
Wait a second. You just called him a kid. He's your age.
Well, he's not. He was that's funny. I did call him a kid. So when I was a senior, he was a freshman, and we ended up being roommates at Fullerton in an apartment. So he was always a kid to me.
Well, how did he become roommates if he was just a freshman?
I don't know. He wanted to move out.
Okay.
It's Fullerton, man. We didn't have dorms. No dorms at Fullerton. Oh, we had an opening.
Yeah.
PJ needed a place to live.
Yeah.
Boom. Roommate.
Did PJ get a lot of girls? Was he a ladies' man?
I think eventually he was, but I don't even know if he was shaving yet at that time.
All right. Yeah. Well, PJ, does PJ listen?
He's Italian, right?
Does he listen?
I don't know.
PJ, if you're
Probably
listening,
not. I mean, he's kind of got a busy schedule, I'm sure, every day.
Yeah, but you can always squeeze in some time to listen to the lab. PJ, if you're listening, I just want to let you, on behalf of Ep, I want to apologize for him calling you a kid. You're a grown man and a great hitting instructor and great hitting.
He's a grown ass man.
He's a grown ass man.
He's a grown ass man. Anyway, so I mean, I know PJ. I saw him a couple years ago at Yankee Stadium, and it was like, before batting practice, he was nowhere to be seen. Then he came out in the field for a little bit, and then he's like, all right, Ep, I got to go. Like, I got to go. The guy wants to hit some more. He was talking about Stanton, like, it just works. So, I mean, he's nonstop. I think the only time PJ has time to kind of reflect on what's going on in life is probably during the game. Mm-hmm. And that's likely limited, right?
Yeah.
to when they're on defense. So, anyway, I don't know. And I'm trying to think who the other hitting coach is. Why can I think of the other?
Was it Marcus? Is it Marcus Timms?
It might be Marcus Timms.
It is Marcus Timms.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and I don't know him personally. I do know that they have. Is Nevin still the third base coach for the
Phil Nevin is still the third base coach.
Mike
Reggie
Harkey's still,
Willits, I think, is still the first base coach, in case you're wondering. You probably
they have
weren't
like
wondering.
3 Fullerton guys on staff.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but Fullerton's known as a pitching school now.
Yeah, well, Harkey's there. He was a pitching.
Right.
Yeah, ever since Nevin left, Nevin and Kotze and Epp, no more hitters.
Right. Mm-hmm.
No, just kidding. They've probably had one or two.
Anywho,
I digress. So
yeah, but you know what's funny about that? They haven't had many hitters at the major league level who've made it to the major league level. A lot more pitchers.
Fullerton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Justin Turner hasn't done very well.
All right, that's one guy. And you know what? He one guy.
What about Michael Lorenzen? He's a pretty good hitting pitcher.
Ugh.
He is, though.
Who would you take? Lorenzen out of these three? Lorenzen, Greinke, Stroman. If you needed a pitcher to hit, bases loaded, 2 outs, Game 7 of the World Series, and they said you can only throw up a pitcher up there, who would you take out of those three?
Mad Bum.
That's not an option. Mad Bum's not available.
Probably Greinke.
Greinke, very good. I would take Greinke too.
Gritty,
although Stroman did double last night, put a pretty good swing on it. Poor kid. He one pass ball. It was ruled a wild pitch. Should have been a pass ball. One pass ball / wild pitch. It was a pass ball in my book.
You just called him a kid.
Right. Well, he's my age.
Okay, so getting back to, I'm going to wrap up the Judge
one
thing.
pass ball, and he suffers the loss. His ERA is at 1.86. Stupid Mets. Go ahead.
Was the catcher on one knee?
Oh, it was James McCann. He got crossed up. Although that sequence, we can get into that some other time. That sequence cost Strosho.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, he was facing the pitcher. He should have just won. Whatever. Go ahead.
Just let him go, man. Yeah, let it go. Don't get cute.
Right. He got cute, very cute. It was like, yeah. You know, sometimes the cute ones always turn out to be the ones, you know, on the inside. Go ahead.
So finishing Judge and the good hitting coach, a good hitting coach can convince that player they need to change. So I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, but I pretty much bet the Yankees are like, dude, you kind of drop your barrel too much, kind of swing uphill a little bit too much. Maybe you hold a little bit too much weight on your back leg. I don't know. I'm thinking they're seeing that. But how can they convince him to make that change? Well, here's what happened. He had to fail miserably.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, now I'm exposed, right? I'm down, you know, I'm not feeling good about myself. How can you help me? Oh, maybe we try this. Here's some options. Here's some ideas on how you do it. Where a trustworthy hitting coach that has a good relationship with a player says you need to do this, and you need to do it right now. And if you don't, you're going to give away the next 30 at bats.
Yeah.
And who knows who he listened to? Maybe it was he did it on his own. Maybe it was the Yankees hitting coaches. Maybe it was his buddy, the teacher man. You know, I don't know who told him to make that change, but he made it. It's not a teacher man kind of move, that's for sure. But whoever got him to do it, and even if it was himself, he did a great job. And I hope it continues, because if it does, his swing really is good, Judge's swing. It just gets a little bit too much off track, if that makes sense. Like, he drops it a little bit too soon and comes up. But he has good extension. He doesn't have any bat drag. He doesn't arm bar. He's very compact for a guy that's as big as he is. So this little change, based on what I saw with that swing, it would. And I didn't see the other swing. He hit 2 home runs. The first one that I liked was a high pitch fastball, and he hit it. I think he hit it the other way, but it was such an easy swing. Like, it almost looked like a BP swing. It was that, compact and smooth and easy with great extension. If he continues to do that, he's going to be a force.
Yeah, and you always talk about how the higher pitches are so tough at times to get on plane with.
It's so hard.
And you mentioned right there,
you have to have great hands.
That he got on plane with it so easily and hit it out of the park, hit it off the restaurant at Yankee Stadium, that shitty ballpark. I miss the old Yankee Stadium.
So I got pneumonia a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was rough. Like, I was real sick. And I swear I got it on the subway from the Upper West Side to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of diseases on that.
Yeah.
So the thing, these league-wide struggles, though, and we're looking. I mean, Gleyber Torres was struggling. I mean, everybody in the Yankees seems to be struggling. Everybody, I mean, even Lindor a little bit is struggling. He's one of my favorite players, like ever. I'm looking though at watching game after game. You and I watch a lot of baseball, and I'm seeing hitters, major league hitters, consistently missing pitches that they should be hitting. And, there's only so much rope you can give a hitter in saying, well, it's the beginning of the year and it'll come around. If you consistently miss pitches over and over again, it becomes a habit almost. It's not the excuses just go out the window.
It's a game of adjustments.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game of adjustments. That's why you have to be strong mentally. You have to have a good approach and plan to the plate. Yeah. I mean, I see it with younger players too. When we're training at the lab and they're swinging under, we will set up the fastball machine, right, with a higher spin rate. I mean, they just naturally have a higher spin rate coming out of those machines. Where it's only dropping like 8 degrees coming out of the machine. Everybody swings under it by like a ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'll show them hey, I need you to make an adjustment. Don't swing down, don't swing up more, just swing higher. Like try to shave the top of the ball. And then they won't trust me. So then I show them a video of their barrel going under. I said, are you going to make an adjustment now or are you going to continue to fail? And they look at it and they say, okay. So I say, try to miss this ball. Try to swing over it by like 4 inches. Try to miss it. And all of a sudden they'll tip it. And I'm like, you still weren't high enough. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but at least I found it. At least I felt it. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 5 pitches later, they make that adjustment. That's the same as any good hitting coach at the major league level. Now, the difference is they're throwing different pitches. But if we know the pitch that we're missing, we're missing high fastballs. You're missing one of those every at bat, and you're getting 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them every at bat. Let's make an adjustment. And then what'll happen is Judge makes his adjustment with his swing, which he did a good job with. And now all of a sudden they're going to start throwing him breaking balls that are down. And he has to figure out which one he wants to hit. Yeah, right? Am I going to stay on top of these fastballs? Because I'm still going to get fastballs. Or am I going to start looking for breaking balls? Yeah. So his swing is more set up for breaking balls because breaking balls come down on a much steeper trajectory, right? Probably looking at like 12 degrees, 14 degrees coming down versus 6 degrees on a fastball. Well, when you dump your barrel and swing up, you're kind of on plane for breaking balls. Right. So if people throw him like an overhand curveball, he's going to have success with it if he's looking for it with that swing plane. But they haven't been throwing him that, right? They've been getting him fastballs. So the key is, are they going to start throwing him breaking balls for strikes? Yeah. And now all of a sudden, okay, they're throwing it for strikes. I'm going to look for it and I'll be fine. If they're throwing it for balls and you're looking for it, then all of a sudden you might start chasing. So you still have to be mentally smart. Like, this is the pitch I get more of. 60% of the time, I get this pitch. I'm going to sell out when I'm in a slump, when I'm struggling, and I'm not doing well. Okay, that's what this episode is about, right? Overcoming adversity, overcoming a slow start.
Overcoming slow starts, episode number 53.
Right, so we figure out, okay, what is that plan? I'm struggling. These are the percentages. I'm getting this pitch more often than not. That's the one I'm not going to miss. I'm going to sit on that pitch, sit on that pitch, sit on that pitch. I'm going to have a swing that hits that pitch, and all of a sudden I find a barrel. Yeah. So I had adversity my first year of pro ball. So
slow start. You had a slow start.
I had a slow start.
That's the title of this week's episode, Adversity.
Slow start. So I finished up at Fullerton. We lose to Mark Pryor.
A lot of people have in their lives, their careers.
And that Mark Pryor was good in college. Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, we lose to Mark Pryor. The game is over. I'm a senior. I'm crying, waiting to get into the locker room to clean it out. Right. And then a couple of days later, I sign a contract, right? I go down to Angel Stadium, I sign a contract, yippee. And then I get on a propeller plane and I fly to Montana to play short season. So
wait, with the propeller plane, like as in like the like it wasn't an actual real like flight. Oh, you didn't fly out of like a real airport.
Well, I think I flew to like on a jet to Salt Lake or something, and then from Salt Lake into Montana into Butte, it was a propeller plane.
So literally, it was like that kind of plane. Wow.
that's big in the Pacific Northwest, Jim, the propeller planes.
I got to get out.
Alaska Airlines, they have a whole fleet of these little propeller planes that hit the small towns out there.
I got to get out more.
There's an entire country west of the East Coast. I didn't know if you knew that.
I did. I do. And I've been out to parts of the country. I didn't, maybe
You're not a true New Yorker then. You're not a true New Yorker.
I have to become more global, I guess. I have to learn more about this great country. I have to learn more. I didn't know that that people fly planes still with propellers like it's fucking
very
50s
fuel
again.
efficient.
So
I
there's things I have to learn, things I don't know. I'm admitting it. What are you gonna do?
It's like I have people.
You get stuck in Florida city. And with the nice weather, and sometimes you're just like, propeller planes, what are you gonna do?
Propeller planes and snow. I don't need that.
No, I haven't seen snow in years.
Yeah.
Nor do I want to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know what we were talking about.
We were talking about your propeller plane.
So I get on the plane. I land. I sleep on a couch. I wake up the next day, go to the park. Don't play. Here's your uniform. Work out with the team. And this team's already been together, right? So college guys come late. High school guys are already there. Latin players are already there because they came straight from spring training. This season doesn't start till usually June.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there, or maybe mid-May. Anyway, I got there, 3 weeks after. All the college guys kind of come later. So you join the team and whatever. So the first game, I get in a day or two later, and I, go 1 for 3 or something like that. I'm like, hey, first pro hit. Look at me, right? Feeling good. And then I sit for a couple days, and then I get another game. And then, anyway. So I think I've talked about I had to lie to play third base. I think I spoke about that in an episode. So first baseman's hot. He's hitting like 400 the other first base. I'm like, I'm not going to play. He's younger than me, and he's hitting 400. So I end up getting spot starts for 40 at bats, right? So playing every third day, every second day. And my average keeps going down. So by the time it reached its worst, it was 2 for 40. So if you do the math on 2 for 40,
you want me to do it or no?
0.050.
Okay.
Like I'm not even on the interstate. Okay.
Yeah.
So the interstate is, like 1 something, I-95, I-25, whatever it is. So I'm like, and I got people heckling me, old ladies heckling me in the stands. I get to look at my terrible average every time I get in the box. So anyway, I hit a meaningless line drive over the shortstop's head. I mean, it was a bullet in the left field of a meaningless game.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point forward, I hit over 500 the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? To this day, I don't know what it was. It was the fact that I felt what that barrel was like. It felt so. It was just soft. I mean, I could still feel it. Like it felt that good because the monkey was on my back. And so, what was I was young. I was stupid. I didn't know how to overcome adversity. I didn't know how to get rid of that slow start.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How do you get rid of the slow start? You practice more. That was one of opportunity. I needed to play more. Not only did I get hot, but somebody got hurt. And instead of playing every third or fourth day, I get to play every day. So there's different ways of, overcoming those slow starts. Sometimes it's laying a bunt down, pushing a bunt, getting on base, feeling good about yourself. But I would say more than anything, if the swing is good and you're not hitting, it's all approach and figuring out what pitches you're getting and why we're missing them. Are we late? Are we early? What is our tempo like? So it's usually approach. Now, in some cases today with, a lot of big leaguers trying to just hit balls in the air, it's swing oriented. Most big leaguers typically came up. I'm not going to say they came up like Vlad or Bichette or Yelich. They came up with good swings, but they came up with, I think, better overall mechanics. And their swing plane, the flatter your swing plane, typically the more contact you're going to get. So most people were taught that, and sometimes to a fault. They were taught to swing down too much, right down through the ball. But airing closer to that versus the dump and getting underneath and getting that knob up too quick, it was a much better process. That's why you saw guys come up to the big leagues. They didn't have any power. So if you look back, 15, 20 years ago, all these great players, they hit like 6, 7, 8 home runs in the minor leagues, right? And then they get to the big leagues and it's like, they hit 3 or 4, and then they hit 10 or 12. And then all of a sudden Dale Murphy's hitting, 20, 30 home runs a year.
Right.
And that was the process. It's like, oh, okay, I have to sit back and swing up a little bit more. And my dad used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Now you have guys in the minor leagues. Somebody just got brought up. Who just got brought up? Somebody got brought up and they were hitting 228 and they hit, I don't know if it was the year before. I think it was 2019, right? Because last year was kind of funky. But
not Keston Hira. Was it Keston?
Who?
Keston Hira?
No.
No,
it wasn't a Brewer, I don't think. It was a guy that hit 28 home runs in the minor leagues and hit 236 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I'm like, nobody used to hit that many home runs in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
But they would hit 326 in the minor leagues. And then they get brought up and they'd have to start to swing. So I think what happens is now all of a sudden guys are swinging up too much. Mm-hmm. They're dumping their barrel too much and swinging up. Mm-hmm. And then they get to the big leagues and they're having to flatten off, where it used to be they were too flat or down, but they were still finding barrels just hitting low line drives at rockets all over, hitting for a high average. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, he'll grow into more power.
Yeah. I was wondering, let me jump in here really quickly. So why was that? Why did that used to be the case? Because, a lot of it's
Jim, I just told you why it was the case.
A lot of it's projection, but I mean, guys used to hit 3-4, like you mentioned, 3-4 home runs and then hit like 346 in the minors. And then they all of a sudden, a few years later, when they're in their prime, they're hitting 30 home runs. Is it all just a simple fix in their swing plane?
I mean, my dad used to say, guys, you surround yourself with guys that have been there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing.
Or is it the strike zone that gets smaller?
The strike zone does get smaller,
right? The strike zone is. Some people say that hitting at the major league level is easier as compared to hitting, say, the minors or an amateur baseball, college, whatever.
Yeah, I would agree with that in the terms of the balls are way harder, the ballparks are way smaller.
Yeah,
the athletes are bigger, and the strike zone's smaller. However, the ball moves a lot more in the major league level. Yeah, I mean, guys move it, they spin it, they throw it harder, whatever. So my dad used to say they're surrounded by guys that have been there. So, like Charlie Blackmon, for instance, would be a prime example. Mm-hmm. When he came up, we could look at his stats. Where's our guy? Jimmy, can you pull up the stat? Oh no, it's not Jimmy. That's not
Jimmy. That's my name.
Tommy.
Our intern, Tommy. Right.
Tommy, pull up the stats on Blackmon in that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you want me to text him to remind him?
What he hit in the minor leagues in terms of home runs, did he ever hit more than 20 home runs in the minor leagues? I don't know, but it took him a few years. He gets brought up and all of a sudden, Helton's here, right? There's guys that juice baseballs and like, oh, wow, he seems to be, maybe he sits back a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't quite get on top as much, maybe he finishes a little higher coming up through the ball, whatever it might be. And they make these small, subtle adjustments. And that's how the game was for a really long time. And now it's like guys try to fast forward that move.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now it's like, oh, it's good to sit back and swing up. And they start doing it when they're 10. Mm-hmm. Right. And then by the time they're 14, it's too much. And then they might not be playing anymore. But the really good athletes are still playing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it kind of goes from there. Like I remember, watching games with my dad, when college baseball first started to be really televised. It usually wasn't until the College World Series, So if we go back, 15 years, 20 years, and the college players, they used to swing down a lot. Oh, and the same was the minor league. We watched the minor league All-Star game, like the AA All-Star game, and guys would still be coming forward and have a one-arm finish, like a Heriniak move. And this would have been like, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When guys are bombing balls, right? I mean, there was some sluggers and steroids and all kinds of crazy stuff, but you still saw in the minor leagues guys coming forward and swinging down. And all of a sudden the tables, and so those guys that would come forward and swing down that were really good, all of a sudden they would start to sit back once they got to the big leagues and they were surrounded by Chipper Jones or Fred McGriff or whoever it was that was playing, and they would change. And I think now it's just the opposite. Now you have guys that sit back too much, and it's harder to go from that move to flattening off than being flat and swinging up more. I mean, I say it every day in the lab. Matt and I will be chatting, and we'll have like one kid out of 100 that comes in that's actually swinging down, chopping down, and we're like, wow, you're the one guy that swings down.
Yeah.
And now we got to get you to sit back more. Like we're trying to get everybody else that's doing this, their first move and their front shoulders shrugging up and left. We're trying to get them to do what you're doing.
Right.
But what you're doing is too much the other way. So the tables that turn, it probably used to be I mean, when I first started teaching in the early 2000s, it was probably 80 to 90% players that were swinging down and coming forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's probably 90% of amateur players that collapse and swing up too much.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into how analytics has played a part in all of this struggle, and I think it has. Maybe I'm wrong. People will probably disagree. The struggle being the slow starts that seems like everybody is experiencing right now in Major League Baseball. But we do want to remind you, of course, to like and subscribe to the podcast for new episodes on Mondays at 9 a.m. on our YouTube page, the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. That's the name of the YouTube page for those who don't know, who are listening on the audio side on maybe like Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, or whatever. I mean, just want to let you know that we do have a YouTube page. I have to ask you, do you believe in soulmates? That was such a long pause on the screen that
left field. Jim,
well, I you know me, I'm the best to ever do this, so I will tie it together.
Do I believe in
the screen though? You were staring at me. I thought the screen like froze for a second. Yeah. Do you believe in soulmates? Are you a? So there's a story.
I would say no, because I've never said that I believe in that one person. I think there's multiple people.
Right. That's why I said soulmates, plural.
Oh, soulmates?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I was reading a story. This is like a week or two old, though, that Bo Bichette's parents met in the same warehouse across from Fenway where Bo hit a ball off that warehouse a couple of weeks ago. So don't tell me soulmates don't exist, because they do. Don't tell me that there's not magic in all that.
No, there is.
I mean, come on now.
I hit a game-winning home run and met my wife. She was at the game.
Really?
Yep.
But yeah, that's good.
Ray Stanford found the ball actually the other day going through some old stuff.
Right.
It was walk-off home run, blah, 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 date. She was at that game, and then I went and celebrated with some teammates, and she was working at the Outback.
And she was a waitress or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was that? 1999. No, 2000, 21 years ago.
She probably doesn't even remember that you had the ball.
I didn't have it with me. I wasn't walking around. Hey, look at me, everybody.
Right.
I mean, I did walk they were carrying me into the restaurant, I'm sure, my teammates.
Sure?
I'm sure.
Give a phone call. Can you tell Tommy to get that for us, please?
Tommy, line 2.
I know we have I know that a certain daughter of yours wants to be our intern as well, Vivian. So
Yep. Yeah, Viv and I were watching the Missouri softball game yesterday because Missouri was playing who are they playing? Florida, who's number 3 in the country. And one of my players, Cassie Shomo, is a left fielder at Missouri, which is pretty cool to see. And they have a great complex. Like Missouri softball, like they do it right, and they're good. Maybe that's why they have a good complex. Maybe if they invested in the baseball complex, they would have a better turnout with players too.
Yeah.
Anyway, Viv says, maybe I should go to Missouri. Good softball and journalism. I was like, yeah, they're only like the number 1 journalism school in the country. There we go.
There we go. Or you can just learn from my buddy Jim.
You can just watch Jim.
He'll teach you,
Tommy the intern.
Every single thing. No, Tommy doesn't know anything. Tommy's a shithead. By the way,
come up with that stat yet?
Yeah, I know. That's why we got to fire him and promote Vivian. Tommy just doesn't want to learn. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you have those employees, right?
That's right. No,
I was watching a college game last night, Friday night. Again, we're doing this on Saturday, people. Okay, well, at least for this week. And it was Oregon State, UCLA. And I thought of Garrett Mitchell, your guy, my guy, another guy, by the way, that I was right about. So let's see. I'm right. I was right about Garrett Mitchell. I was right about Bo, Vlad, Tariq, Hazley, Monia. The list goes on and on for me. I don't know about you, truthfully. But Garrett Mitchell had a great spring training. Am I right? With the Brewers.
Yeah. When you know. When you're good, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people said that, he's and I said, nah, he's not he's pretty good. Anyway, I did watch some college baseball last night. So you do believe in soulmates, which is good too.
Soulmates are good.
There's a debate that was raging Cajun on Twitter over the past like 2 weeks about using a tee against using soft toss or front toss. And I'll get your opinion on that. I'm not a big, as I've said before on the show, and when you worked with me, I'm not a big tee guy. My chin would always get stuck in my back shoulder, prevented me from rotating. But I just didn't really like the tee. I liked more of the movement of the ball in the air, whether it be soft toss or front toss. Some people swear by the tee. Other people say, the tee is overrated. I'm kind of on that end of the spectrum, although I'm not completely against the tee. So what is your opinion on tee versus soft toss / front toss?
I like the tee.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tee for simplicity, especially when I'm changing something with a player and they're cognitive, they're conscious of that change or that thought. I use the tee a ton for that. Top hand stuff, bottom hand stuff, isolating the upper body, not the legs, if somebody's spinning. So I use it in transition. So tee would be, the ball's not moving, right? So it's the easiest. And then we transition to front toss, which is, okay, I can kind of still think about my same stuff. They're just flipping it. And then the next one would be BP, the next stress level. And then after that would be, velocity coming at them. So depending on where they are in the learning process of their swing, that's where we make adjustments. So, but I think for tees, I think every player and every kid should have a tee and a net and hit in the driveway on a daily basis. That was me looking at my child that plays softball.
And what is she doing? Staring at you or what?
Vivian, she's like, what? Why are you calling me out right now?
Does she want? No, but is she going to make an appearance? Is she going to come in front of the camera and say hello? She's our intern. We let interns on the air.
You're our intern, Viv, by the way, for journalism. This is your journalism training. Yeah, I got a thumbs up. I don't think she's camera ready yet.
No, okay, that's okay.
Camera ready. It's early here in Colorado, on the weekend.
Right. She probably hasn't had.
She's got a big game today.
Big game.
Yeah, big game. So we'll definitely hit off the tee and warm up first.
The whole Epstein hitting podcast community wishes her good luck today.
Yeah, thank you.
Sun is shining, I see in the back.
So it's beautiful. Gosh, it was 80 degrees yesterday. The trees have sprouted. My lawn looks good.
Yeah.
I think it might snow tomorrow, though.
So you're for the tee. You're for, by the way, you're for the tee?
I am for the tee.
Yeah. So,
but I know what you're saying. Like, if the tee causes problems, the tee's no good. There are players out there where I'm like, tee's not good for you.
Yeah,
because their head drops so much and it locks in their body.
Yeah. A tee's no good for me. Still isn't to this day. But the thing I wanted to bring up with you, the Rockies had speaking of snow, they had a management change. How you feeling about that?
It's a good topic. Our intern just sent me something, the weather forecast. Intern, I actually need Charlie Blackmon's minor league stats. Search it up. Okay, so British. What would be really funny to me
is if they hired you as the GM.
I didn't go to Harvard.
Yeah, right, of course.
British gets a job with the Cardinals.
Because Harvard's the end all, and your Ivy League is the end all be all. That's why the product is so great now, right?
That's right, because everyone went to the Ivy League schools and crunches numbers, right?
Yeah. Hey, we got to move the mound back. That'll make younger people watch. You should ask Viv, our intern, if she would watch the game of baseball more if they move the mound back. I guarantee I know what she would say. Go ahead.
Anyway, if British gets a good job with the Cardinals after making a trade, if British gets a $50 million signing bonus to take a job with the Cardinals for the Arenado deal,
right,
that would be awesome.
So a little percentage of the Arenado deal.
So I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know. I know he and Arenado apparently didn't get along.
Right.
But I will tell you that I don't think it's British. I think it's the ownership.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who the GM is here. The ownership does the same thing. He puts the kibosh on. Now, British, they've made some terrible moves. The first being that the guy they overpaid, Ian Desmond, like that. I don't even know. When that happened, I was like, this is the stupidest trade ever. Yeah. Not only did they not have a position for him, but they overpaid the heck out of him. Yeah. And he really only had like 1 or 2 good years under his belt. They gave him a huge contract. So I don't know. I mean, people pitchers this and pitchers that. Good pitchers do well here.
Yeah.
Like everybody strikes out now. So all you got to do is throw hard and throw up. You're not going to give up a lot of home runs at Coors Field anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a good pitcher, it doesn't matter where you are. Like Bauer could come pitch here and do well.
Yeah.
Like, because he's gritty, he's tough.
Yeah,
so
close that one
you know,
eye.
he didn't make good moves. He never. I'm trying to think of a good move that he made where we got really good prospects.
Wait a second. When do you play for the team?
Well, no, I just live here.
Right,
They're
but
all
you don't
kids
play.
anyway.
You don't play for the team.
Boy, that just showed my colors that deep down I am a Rockies fan.
Right, and you don't even work. You don't even work for them. You work for another team.
I don't even work for them.
Yeah, but you don't play. You know that you don't play. Like I hear like a lot of fans, like especially like I don't know. I hate to pick on them, but like Eagles fans. You know, I don't know. Cardinals fans, right? They say, you know, hey, we had a great week or we had a great game or we got to do this. It's like you don't play for the team, stupid. I'm not calling you stupid, but you know.
You just called me stupid. I don't even.
I didn't call you stupid. I don't
even watch their games.
I didn't call you stupid though. I said they're stupid.
You said we. I'm correcting you.
I'm just correcting you to make sure so you sound more efficient because you
yes.
don't and I don't want to get you in trouble. You don't work for them officially.
I'm trying to get stats here.
Yeah.
Oh,
there she is. She just made an appearance. Our intern.
On video, Biv.
Be sure to
minor league fall history stats. I clicked on this. See if you can find me. Colorado Springs. How do you do in Colorado Springs?
She's gonna hate us by like tomorrow.
By like 3 years ago.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Did I already use that? I already said that. Follow us on social media. Whatever. Jim Tara and Epstein hitting.
Yep.
Instagram, Twitter, and Jimbo Podcast 21@gmail.com for all your questions. By the way, I pulled up the stat on my phone. According to Fangraphs, Chris Bryant is swinging this is from Buster Olney, by the way, at a significantly lower amount of pitches out of the strike zone this year. 30.5% in 2019, 25.9% this season, which is a career low. So I guess that explains why he's off to a fast start as opposed to all of his teammates.
So what caused that? I'd love to know what caused that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I would think you would know. I don't know.
Does he have, well, no, I mean, somebody did they do a tracking drill? Did he get new contacts? Did he get LASIK? Is he taking away part of the strike zone? So he used to be susceptible to pitches, breaking balls down because he hit the pitch down so well. So maybe he's now not looking down. Maybe he's looking up more, and that helps him lay off pitches in the dirt that he's not swinging at more, which would make you more susceptible to high fastballs. So if somebody's listening to this, maybe he's going to start swinging, missing high. I don't know. But I wonder what, you know, the numbers actually are for that, like what he did differently. I will say I have some numbers.
Okay.
From Blackman. Yeah, in the minor leagues. So
in 2008.
He hit 2 home runs his first year in 321 plate appearances.
Wow.
In 616 plate appearances, he hit 7 home runs.
Wow.
But he hit 338, 307, 297.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit 289 one year. Where'd he go? Where's Pacific Coast League? So there's Colorado Springs. I may have gone too far. Now I don't have the thing. But, yeah, I mean, what a perfect example of a guy. See if you can look up how many home runs he hit in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
It'll be one of his last years.
Those were great statistics because it goes back to your point earlier about how all of a sudden guys hit more home runs. And I think a lot of people wondered that.
Yeah.
Why do guys hit more?
He still hits over 300. That's the best part of it.
Right.
He made a small adjustment.
Yeah.
Versus having to make a wholesale change.
And I wonder who implements that adjustment? Teammates? Your environment? Hitting coach? I mean,
that's what my dad said. My dad said it's teammates. They, you all of a sudden he gets in a group with Helton, and you probably don't remember Helton, but Helton used to sit back a lot, like on his backside.
How do I not remember? He was part of my childhood.
Well, I mean, the Rockies were televised all the time, nationally. So,
I do, for those, for the record, people listening and watching, I do remember Todd Helton. Okay. He was one of my favorite hitters growing up.
He was. Okay. But
Jeez.
I mean, you're surrounded by guys. You're surrounded by guys that sit back and launch, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm hitting line drives, spraying them all over the park. I'm going to try to hit this ball in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, in order to do that, he's got to start to sit back a little bit more, and then it's like, wow, that felt really good, and then it becomes habit.
Yeah.
And my dad had that his first year, in pro ball when he got there. Frank Robinson was in his hitting group with the Orioles. And Frank's like, hey, you should really, you got good power. You should try to do this, that, and the other. And, guys start to make adjustments.
Yeah. Before we wrap up and get to our listener question here, I do want to ask, because I heard J-Roll last night, Jimmy Rollins on the Phillies broadcast, J-Roll, talk about colder weather with Ruben Amaro Jr., who was also on the Phillies broadcast last night, who, by the way, is a very underrated evaluator. They talked about the colder weather with Northeast teams and whatnot, and how once the colder weather passes, bats start to heat up a little bit. Do you buy into that theory? If so, why do you believe that's the case?
You feel good. Okay. The muscles are a little looser. You're in a better mood.
Yeah.
It's not there. I will tell you, there's nothing worse than knowing it's going to be 35 degrees when you're playing a baseball game and you're layering up, right? You got your compression tights on, you're under, you're thicker and tighter. And then all of a sudden when it gets warm, it's like, spring is here, right? The ball's flying because the wind has shifted directions. It's coming out of the south. Thank you. And I do agree with that. The ball travels a little bit more. The ball's got more bounce to it, but I think it's mostly mental than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. By the way,
I think you just feel better.
I want to give a quick get well soon to Bryce Harper, who got hit in the face the other night.
Dude, and he almost stopped it with his ninja-like reflexes. Did you see that?
Yeah,
he almost got his hands up to 97 to block it.
I also saw that he texted Genesis Cabrera and said, "Don't worry about it." So class act, Bryce Harper, get well soon. Sure. I know we are a little tough on him at times because he makes so much money, but it's not to say we don't think he's great.
I like him. I like him as a human too.
Yes, yeah, competitor and of course, good classy human. Remember, folks, if you hate certain players, they are fathers. Bryce Harper's a father of 2 young kids, and he got hit in the face by 97. It's very scary.
Right, so. Could have ended his career.
Right.
Or his life.
Yeah, just God forbid. So thank God he's okay and everybody's good and he'll be back in a couple of days and whatnot. All right, let's get to our listener question here. And by the way, I need help from our listeners, jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. I'm sure nobody's going to email me this answer to this question, which is fine. Whatever. I know you all hate me, but that's okay. Because I'm not going anywhere. But I just want to say, I don't know if I should take a risk and get my mom for Mother's Day a $60 Massage Envy gift card, because if I do get her that, Massage Envy is offering a deal where you get 1 free massage to go along with that.
Seems like a no-brainer to me.
I don't know, but she gets mad when we get her gifts. So email me in your answers. Or your
Say you bought yourself one and it was just the extra.
I could. Yeah, I could. Okay.
Or just bribe her so she's your favorite kid.
I'm already the favorite kid.
Oh.
That's so not true. Our listener question, this comes to us from Jack from Paramus, New Jersey. He's emailed the show before, loyal listener. Thank you, Jack. We appreciate that via jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. Jim and Jake, I saw this on the MLB Network, and he's referring to a video of Billy Ripken talking about launch angle earlier in the week. On the video side, unfortunately, because of copyright issues, I can't put it in on the video side. I will on the audio, though. You can listen to the audio. Billy Ripken, is he right or wrong about the slanting of the shoulders? A hitter would want to do that on a pitch down in the zone, but on a pitch up, he would want to keep his shoulders more level. Would that be correct? And again, that is from Jack from Paramus, New Jersey. Loyal listener to the show. He's emailed before. Jack, thank you for the question.
Yeah, he's right. A high pitch, typically your shoulders are pretty close to the angle of the bat at contact. So if you slope your shoulders inward towards the plate 40 degrees, your barrel's going to be close to 40 degrees. It's more with your spine. It's usually perpendicular to your spine, your bat angle and your spine. But your shoulders are pretty close to that too, depending on people's anatomy. For me, it's like a ground ball. Okay, I'm a defensive specialist, as you know.
Yes.
Okay, so fielding a ground ball, it's much easier to start low, and if the ball comes up, react up to catch it, right? Versus your hands here, and all of a sudden you got to get down, right? So you're always taught from a young age, stay low with your glove. If it's a bad hop, react up. That's your adjustment. You don't want to go from up to down. Well, as a hitter, you kind of want to have more. If you want to almost anticipate up, and then as the pitch gets lower, then you can start to tilt your shoulders more. If you start with your shoulders really tilted in, or your spine really tilted in, and your barrel starts to get too low, the only fix for that is to flip the barrel up. So you can't make an adjustment. If you're leaning in to cover, say, a knee-high pitch, but that pitch is at the thighs, top of the thighs or belt, you have no chance. But if you start out at a pitch at the belly button, and all of a sudden you start to see that pitch sinking and getting lower, and you need to drop your bat head more, it's much easier for the body to tilt in more. And I believe that's what he's talking about. So yes, absolutely, those are, right on a higher pitch. You got to have flatter shoulders. On a lower pitch, you'll drop your shoulders a little bit more.
Really quick, do you agree with what he was saying, Billy Ripken?
I don't know if I saw the entire clip.
Okay.
Do you want to refresh me on what he was saying?
About pretty much everything you just said.
So, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I watched the whole clip. I just, in terms of the question, the shoulders, Jack, right? From Paramus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was correct.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jack. So next week, speaking of soulmates, Bo Bichette is our topic at hand, because we are doing a mechanical breakdown series on Mr. Bichette. Then we got some other stuff lined up, and then we have Ronald Acuna Jr. coming up with mechanical breakdown series too. So a lot of great things on our topics list throughout the summer here, coming up on the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. Bo Bichette next week.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Your guy. I like Bo Bichette too.
Yeah, Vlad is like your soulmate. You love Vlad, though.
Yeah, if I had a hitting soulmate, he would be it. He doesn't know it, but
No, in case he may watch this though.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah. You have any plugs for the Lab before we go?
Summer camp's coming. Don't miss out. It's going to be a blast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kids we're going to go probably like 6 to 12-year-olds, breaking out by age. We're doing fundamentals in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Fielding, hitting, throwing fundamentals in the morning. We have a quick little lunch break, and then it's game on. We got dodgeball games. If it gets too hot, we go in the gym. We're going to have wiffle ball games. We're going to have over-the-line games. We're going to have sandlot games. It's going to be a blast. We'll do that in the afternoon. Home run derby, obviously, we have 2 hit tracks now at the Lab, so we get all kinds of home run derby games, inside. So, yeah, camp season's on us.
All right. Well, good stuff. And you got to go, of course.